What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about some new updates for Black Ops Cold War, confirmation of Treyarch's next Call of Duty, and even more. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And Charlie Intel reaffirmed over on Twitter today that Call of Duty's profit since Vanguard's launch has not matched up with Modern Warfare or Cold War. Analysts have said that the Season 1 of Vanguard so far has generated a lot less revenue compared to last year, and as Charlie Intel pointed out, the investors' call on February 3rd is going to be quite interesting. There will be a lot to cover from that phone call, which I'll be streaming live here on the channel. We'll be talking about the Microsoft acquisition, kind of the shortcomings of Vanguard, and what the future of the franchise may look like for Call of Duty as we know it. So a lot to look forward to, and that phone call is, of course, in just around, a week from now. So be on the lookout for that when I do stream it here on the channel. But first and definitely foremost, we do have a bit of an update for Cold War. For those out there that did not purchase either the bundle known as Circuit or Delicate and Deadly, both of which were in Season 4 and Season 2 respectively, then you can actually get those for free right now as part of a deal with Amazon Prime that you can use in both Black Ops Cold War and Warzone. Now here's the thing, right? I understand taking old skins and making them free eventually if they were less popular, but it's still frustrating for those out there that may have spent money on these, whether it's 1,500 COD points, 2,400, and then all of a sudden a couple of months later they're absolutely free. We've seen this happen time and time again with the COD franchise, so I'm not really surprised, but I just hope that most of you guys out there did not buy those bundles, and if you do have Amazon Prime, you get those for free. But there's some nice looking packs with some decent looking blueprints, right? I love the look and theme of these packs, so let me know how you're feeling about that down below in the comments. Now I also want to add that on the Amazon Prime website showing you all these in-game cosmetics and the free bonuses, there is one for Vanguard coming soon, and it's for Vanguard and Warzone, that is, but then there's 5 more listed for Black Ops Cold War. So that likely means we're going to end up seeing 5 more bundles that may not have sold that well or are completely random from Cold War that will end up becoming free as a part of this Amazon Prime bonus. In terms of when that is a bit unknown, but it'll probably be an offer every single season moving forward. The one that we just talked about with Circuit Board and the Delicate one, that could just be for this Season 1 time, and then the other 5 right here could be for the next 5 seasons of Vanguard, in which we'll also still be getting some small updates for Black Ops Cold War. But also don't forget, we do have confirmation from Treyarch that we are getting a Year 2 update for Black Ops Cold War, in the sense that more operators are still on the way for this game. And there's of course plenty of other content we talked about before, which is apparently on deck ready to go. Hopefully it does come out, whether it's remastered maps, extra weapons, modes, whatever the case is. But PlayStation Size did go on to report on a small update for Vanguard that was added to the database, and it apparently is not the Season 2 update. But the reason I bring that up is because what's going around the grapevine right now from some educated individuals is that the next set of Cold War updates should be coming around the launch of Season 2 for Vanguard, or at some point in February at least. So we could assume PlayStation Size will eventually report on a new update getting added to the database for Black Ops Cold War. I'll keep you guys posted on when that is, but the new operators are likely going to be zombies related, considering how they were confirmed in the recent 115-day blog post. So yeah, Kravchenko, Ravenov, Peck, all of the above. We're just not sure right now, but we have a lot to look forward to for Black Ops Cold War this year, without a doubt. So I'm looking forward to the next Cold War update. Hopefully it's sooner than later and not anywhere past February, if I had to take a guess. But we then have some breaking news from Bloomberg earlier tonight that says at least the next 3 Call of Duty games will be released on PlayStation as part of the PlayStation Activision partnership, with confirmation of there being another Modern Warfare game, which we all knew about already, and then a game from Treyarch in 2023, along with the new iteration of Warzone, which they're going to call right now Warzone 2. That's what all the press is calling it right now, so we'll leave it at that. And let's break that down real quickly. So first off, we know Microsoft is committed to honoring any contractual obligations that exist between Sony and Activision. That's without a doubt, but it's the question of what happens after those contractual obligations are met. So what happens after Black Ops 2023? Will there even be a COD cycle after that? Is there a COD 2024 from Sledgehammer? And I don't think we're gonna know the answer to that for quite some time. I don't think we'll know the answer. I don't think Microsoft or Activision even know the answer to that right now. So that's why I'm saying anybody out there claiming they know 100% what's gonna happen, it's just not true. It's really not. But considering of how big a source Bloomberg really is, and they're reporting on this information right now, that's how you know that's credible. But even they aren't claiming to know what's going to happen past 2023. So in my opinion, I think after the next Black Ops, the cycle will come to an end for Call of Duty, at least for a little while Microsoft reevaluates how to handle this franchise and then plans out how to restructure the COD cycle as we know it. So they have other developers such as Treyarch or Sledgehammer or Toys for Bob working on other games that also aren't Call of Duty, because so many of these studios are very talented beyond just the Call of Duty franchise, and I think Microsoft absolutely knows that. So it'll be a while before they really figure out how to juggle everything between all their studios, whether it's a bi-yearly schedule, whether it's a Call of Duty that comes out every 3 years or something. We'll just have to wait and see. But with exclusivity now, I think it is plausible only the Xbox ecosystem gets access to Call of Duty with games beyond 2024, while PlayStation does not. But then again, considering the amount of money involved here, it could go either way, like I mentioned before. The statements right now made by Phil Spencer or any members of the press are just statements that are being made right now this second, but are subject to change, and I think variables and estimations and decisions could very easily change over the next couple of years when they really sit down and say, how could this benefit Xbox? How could this benefit everybody? XYZ. They can make absolute bank off of selling Call of Duty to PlayStation and continuing to do that, or they could take a loss and use that to drive more interest in Xbox consoles, PCs, Game Pass subscriptions. That's why I said it could truly go either way, but we're not going to know what the resolution looks like for another couple of years at least. But what I did have a gut feeling about, though, like I mentioned on Twitter earlier today, is that Modern Warfare 2 2022 would not be the final yearly Call of Duty. If there's any Call of Duty at all that'll end up being the final one, I just don't see it being a game from Infinity Ward. You can disagree with that respectfully in the comments, and I get it. I'm not trying to say that from the perspective of a quote-unquote Treyarch fanboy or a shill or somebody that hates Modern Warfare. That's not what I'm getting at all. What I'm saying is that with how successful Black Ops Cold War was, with the multiplayer, with the zombies, the bundles, I just don't see them kind of shafting that entire part of the Call of Duty community and just focusing on a Modern Warfare game. Considering how different Cold War and Modern Warfare play from one another, it's really two different communities, and also one game has zombies, one does not. So I see, if anything, them ending the COD cycle off on a Treyarch game, a new Treyarch game that is, Black Ops 2023, while also still updating MW2 2022 at the same time. Keep those two games active moving forward and boom, you're good. I just don't see them ending on a note, which is this fall with Modern Warfare 2, and if anything, right, I could have definitely saw them skipping out on Vanguard, ending the COD cycle right now, and just updating MW 2019, Black Ops Cold War, and Warzone moving forward. I would have been fine with that because it's catering to everybody with all different types of playstyles, whether you like slide canceling, whether you like zombies, whether you like one engine over another. I think if they would have stopped right now with what they already had, it would have been fine. But now they're kind of starting fresh yet again this fall with Modern Warfare 2, and by then Cold War will be a bit too old to keep updating, so that's why I think after the next Treyarch Call of Duty, that'll be a good time to stop and everybody can go home happy. But that's just my take right now. If anything, like I mentioned in previous videos before, they've already tested the waters for multiple years of support for a single Call of Duty title. Black Ops 3, the best example, got updates for 3 years straight with new weapons, maps, remasters, little events, anything from that nature, whether it was in supply drops or not, whether it was just a free update altogether, whether it was an additional map pack. They did it all with that game. Black Ops 4 was said to be built with multiple years of support in mind, so they also had a plan at one point to maybe stop the COD cycle sooner than later. And you know, MW 2019 had a planned Season 7, which still kind of came out, but a bit sporadically, right, with content being spread out, not dropped all at once like we're accustomed to. So I think moving forward, Activision knows how to do multiple years of support for a single game, and they're really going to start testing that with MW2 coming out this fall, and then the Black Ops game a year after that. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. But here's the big one, Warzone 2. I can't believe we're saying that, but it looks like the next iteration of Warzone is already in development. Somebody pointed out on Twitter that a lead multiplayer designer at Infinity Ward kind of gave it away, that he's working on a new version of Warzone as well, and that could be found online publicly, by the way. And maybe there is a plan that every 3 years they'll end up putting out a new version of Warzone on a whole new client, maybe on a new engine, also a new version that ignores all the previous Call of Duty integrations, so it's kind of a fresh start, clean slate. Don't have to worry about any weapons from previous games from other developers. That could be the case right now, and I also think it's a given considering they can't really vault content like Fortnite does. It's not like Fortnite where you of course have your weapon wraps that could be used on all weapons, so if you ever vault some of other weapons, you can just use those wraps you may have bought on anything else. It's not like that at all with Warzone. You can't just say, okay, we're gonna vault MW 2019 weapons. Well, what about the legality behind that, right? You may have bought bundles just to use in Modern Warfare 2019 and Warzone. You can't just cut people off from using that content. Even though, like I mentioned before, it was always a bit of a pickle where I'm like, wait a second, when MW2 comes out in fall of 2022, how do you integrate that game's set of weapons with Warzone? Do you override the ones that were for MW 2019? Because you can't have two different Modern Warfare integrations into one application of Warzone, right? That just would break everything, wouldn't it? And if anything, we already thought that a new Warzone application would come out with Modern Warfare 2 anyway, but it won't be exactly with this year's release. It'll end up being the following year, which makes things even weirder. So scoopers are already claiming that Warzone 2 will be exclusive to current gen hardware, PS5, Xbox Series X, Series S, and the PC. That will be the first iteration of Call of Duty, apparently, to drop last gen. Now, subject to change, of course. I think the next Black Ops also has potential to drop last gen, which is PS4 and Xbox One. But if it's releasing in 2023, after the new Black Ops, then will Treyarch have more influence on this new iteration of Warzone, or will Infinity Ward and Raven be preparing something extra for this new client to come out in 2023, which also seemingly confirms that Modern Warfare 2022 might also get more updates in 2023. That's kind of what we're thinking right now. It's like, wait a second, we already know there's a big Warzone update planned around the launch of MW2 this fall, but that'll likely be on the same client we have now, wouldn't it? Or is that supposed to be Warzone 2? Is that coming out even sooner than the next Black Ops game? We're not really sure right now, but if Warzone 2 is dropping after the next Black Ops, then will it use a new engine altogether? Will it feel like a true blend of Blackout and Warzone combined? Kind of like Fireteam Elimination, but with Modern Warfare gunplay, of course. And overall, it just needs to be its own client, sitting on its own 2 feet so that anytime Warzone gets a new update, it doesn't break every other Call of Duty that's integrated with it. And that could also pave the way for FOV slider and enhanced frame rates on some next-gen hardware when booting up a new Warzone map that comes out. Because like I mentioned 100 times before, how ridiculous is it? You could spend upwards of $1,000 or more on a PS5, depending on the scalper price, wherever you get it from, just to boot up a PS4 client that is Modern Warfare 2019 to play the new Warzone experience Caldera. It really is a night and day difference playing on a console versus a PC. When it comes to Warzone specifically, yeah, the new Call of Duties themselves, like Cold War, Vanguard, they're all enhanced for new gen hardware and new consoles, for sure. But Warzone is not. So you're really at a disadvantage playing Caldera on a console, and it's really sad to see it. So I'm excited to move over to PC once I do get it built really soon, so I can actually play next-gen Warzone how it's intended. Now, you're probably also wondering, well, what is the future for Sledgehammer? And Charlie Intel put out a very interesting tweet saying there's still no confirmation what Sledgehammer Games Toronto or UK studios are working on. Some of the new studios just opened up recently. Studio head said Toronto's team was working on unannounced projects unrelated to Vanguard. So I think it's safe to say Sledgehammer probably won't be a part of the COD cycle, at least not anytime soon. They'll probably help out Treyarch or Infinity Ward whenever needed, possibly even Raven for Warzone, but I don't see them putting out another Call of Duty again. I just don't see it, considering how down bad Vanguard currently is right now. I mean, you look at interest in Call of Duty on YouTube, which doesn't reflect everything, of course. I get it, everybody watches YouTube videos and everybody makes content, but we're looking at all-time low numbers this year, which just isn't healthy for anybody involved, whether you're covering the game, making the game, just playing casually. It's bad for the energy around the entire community. So I see Microsoft, once they acquire Activision completely, I see them setting Sledgehammer to work on so many other unrelated projects that have nothing to do with Call of Duty whatsoever, because they have talent, but maybe Call of Duty just isn't where they need to be. And although we still don't know a lot about what the future holds for the franchise, I'm excited with how ambitious everything sounds behind the scenes right now. It looks like all developers, higher-ups, executives, Phil Spencer, everybody wants to see the best for all these franchises that these devs have been painfully working on for a number of years without rest, painfully working on while not being able to work on any other games that aren't Call of Duty. I mean, change needs to happen, and luckily it's confirmed to be happening sooner than later. Now, I want to end off this video with a bit of a topic about the story here. So I put out a tweet a couple of days ago saying MW2 2022 should have a crazy MCU-style post-credit scene showing Task Force 141 meeting David Mason. Would love for there to be an interconnected campaign eventually that feels like the first major crossover. And yeah, imagine a Call of Duty game that comes out maybe 4 or 5 years from now, which has a campaign mind, it's very structured like the final mission of Vanguard's campaign, where you kind of switch off between characters mid-mission. It's very interactive like that, almost like an Avengers type feel. But people out there that were throwing hate at me about this tweet saying, oh, this is a COD fanboy that should never be allowed to write for a COD storyline. Here's the thing, that's not really far off from what's already being crossed over right now thanks to Warzone. The whole point of rebooting Modern Warfare, at least in my eyes, was to not only give a new Infinity War team the opportunity to revisit some fan favorite characters, but also to come up with a new narrative for the Modern Warfare series and then connect that with the Black Ops canon. Black Ops did not get rebooted, it got soft rebooted, I guess you can say, not hard rebooted like Modern Warfare, but soft rebooted where it's still connected to the old Black Ops lore and whatnot, but still going in a new direction that's now telling a different story with even these Modern Warfare characters. Warzone is the bridge to the gap for that, and I think that sets up the future for some really cool interactions. If Black Ops 2 is still canon, you could see Task Force 141 experiencing the events or hearing of the events that took place in Black Ops 2 with Menendez, the takeover in LA. You could see David Mason coming across some of these Modern Warfare characters. How cool would that be to see? And if anything, they'll need more time to work on something that ambitious, and they'll get more time once the acquisition goes through so that Microsoft can actually oversee future projects like that. Now, although the timeline may seem confusing as of now, the current canon, at least in my opinion, based on research, evidence, and support from developers themselves, is World at War, Vanguard, Black Ops 1, Black Ops Cold War, Modern Warfare 2019, and then presumably MW2 2022. I want to say, according to Treyarch's website, Black Ops 2 through 4 are still canon as well, but I think MW2 coming out this fall will likely answer that question better, or allow us to understand how that could all work in the same timeline, if at all. And then Warzone's kind of just there, trying to tell its own story too, but connecting everything going on from Cold War to MW, now Vanguard with Caldera. Let's see how it all works out. We need an updated timeline on the Call of Duty website at some point, but for now, that's what we're dealing with. But that is about it. This has been DK Dynamite. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the new updates for Black Ops Cold War, the upcoming bundles that should be dropping at some point in February, and also what are your thoughts on confirmation that Treyarch is coming back in 2023, but also around the same time as a Warzone 2. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.